In today's video, I've got a nice stack of dollar books that I'm going to show you. These all came from a trip that I recently made out to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where I visited a store called Clairemont Comics during their anniversary summer sale. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name's Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. So recently I made a trip out to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It's a bit of a road trip for me to make that hike. It's probably about a 2-hour drive, and even worse when there's traffic. And it's summertime in this part of the country. Traffic is terrible because, you know, we have winter and then we have road work season. So with all that road work, it takes a long time to get there. But I do try to get out to the store called Clairemont Comics there in Eau Claire, probably twice a year, because that's usually about how frequently I've seen they hold some form of a sale that generally includes a pretty significant sale on their back issues. And basically what they do is they take their bulk back issues, essentially anything that's normally priced probably about $10 or less, and they say any of those books are just $1 a piece. They have other deals as well that go on that are really good, and I've taken advantage of them. For example, I bought a one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle oversized hardcover collected editions. I think I got one of those there at one of their previous sales. But for the most part, I'm there for those back issues to get them at $1 a piece. And you can find a good variety of books, anything from current runs that are recent back issues to help you fill in some holes, limited series, but then going all the way back, I've found even some really nice Bronze Age books. So it's definitely worth my time to make that trip out there to the sale. And they usually host it for close to like a month at a time. So you don't have to get there right at the beginning. I try to get out there, and they'll usually replenish books as they sell through things from their back stock. So it's always a good time. And I came home with a decent stack of books here, and yeah, look forward to showing you those today. I will put links to Clairemont Comics, their online presence and such, down below in the description of this video in case you're in the area and you want to check them out. But for now, let's go ahead and I'll show you my haul from their anniversary sale. Okay, we're going to kick things off with a couple issues from a recent limited series that I added to the measly one issue that I have so far. That is X-Men related Exterminators. The title, it may sound familiar, and that's because it was a limited series originally back in the 80s as part of the X-Men Inferno event, and recently they've recycled that title and done a new story. I don't know what the plot is here, but I like the X-Men, I like the Exterminators title, and so I figured, well, I'm not going to get them new, but if I can find them in the dollar bins, I'll add them to my collection that way. And at their sale, I found issue 2. And this is a variant of issue 4. I don't know if this was a 4 or a 5-part limited series. I want to say 4. I'm still missing one issue if that's the case, but got those 2 issues for $1 a piece. Next up here, we're going to go back to the 90s, and we got, actually this might be around 2000. It might be turn of the century book here, but we've got Thor Volume 2. This kicked off with a run being written by Dan Jurgens and John Romita Jr. doing the pencils, and that team up lasted for about 25 issues of this Volume 2 of Thor, and it started in like 1998, part of the Heroes Return era of things, and this was one of the just couple issues that I'm still missing to complete that Jurgens Romita Jr. section of the run. So that's issue 18 there. Going to go a little bit in reverse order here. Going to go back to Thor Volume 1, and I got 2 issues more towards the end of that volume. First up here is issue 411. I was very happy to find this one. I'm not working on the entire Thor volume, but I am focusing on the Walt Simonson era, but then also if I can find things that are more significant to me personally, either because I like the art or the cover or the story, or in this case, if it's objectively considered a key and I can get that for cheap, then I'm not going to leave that behind. And in this case, with issue 411, we have the first cameo appearance of the New Warriors, and then you get their first full appearance in the next issue, 412. And that was a title, I know they were big in the 90s, and I know, you know, I'm finding more and more people who were into that title at the time. I was, but for just a very short time. I probably got the first 5 or 6 issues and then dropped off. But it was penciled by Mark Bagley, like his art style, and so I may work on some of that volume in time as well. So kind of fun to be able to get one of their earliest appearances there in Thor 411. And then I also picked up this copy of Thor number 429. I don't think there's any key significance to this, but I liked it because Excalibur appears in this story. I want to say they're in issues 427, 428, and 429. So that's a story that I'll pick up because I did collect the entire Excalibur Volume 1. So happy to have scored that one for $1. And I'll also point out, you've heard me say it a couple times already, these were all dollar books, but you can see on the bag they have a price tag of what they were charging. And I think for the most part, you'll see the books I came home with are like anywhere from $3.25 to $6.25 originally, and got them all for $1. So a great sale. These next couple books, I think one I had on my wish list and one I didn't know existed, but I got them for the same reason. And that is for the John Romita Jr. art, either cover or interiors or both. This first one here is Spider-Man The Lost Years #2, and in addition to it being John Romita Jr. art, it also has a cool 90s gimmicky cover with that nice reflective metallic red, so I love that as well. I wonder if this may be a wraparound cover. I'm not 100% sure one way or the other, so let's take a peek. Okay, it is a front and back cover, but it's not a wraparound at all, and the reflective effect doesn't go around to the back either, but it does have artwork on the back, so that's kind of cool. That gives me you know, vibes of the Daredevil Man Without Fear limited series that John Romita Jr. also did. That's a great limited series, but got that one. So happy to have found that one. This one was on my wish list. This next one, also Spider-Man, also John Romita Jr., but I didn't know anything about it. And it's a #1. It may just be a one-shot, but this is Spider-Man The Parker Years. Just when you thought there was, you know, no end to the Spider-Man one-shots, limited series and things, you find again, yes, you're right, there is no end. You know, kudos to any of you out there who are trying to be comprehensive Spider-Man collectors, because there's just a ridiculous number of books. But here's one that I got for the John Romita Jr. art. This one is a wraparound cover. I'll pull that out and show you. So we got here. He does not do the interior pencils, but he does do that wraparound cover. So that was pretty neat. Never heard of it before, but at $1 sale, when you find an artist or a writer or a series or something that just seems appealing, why not get it for just $1? Next up here is a limited series, couple issues I made progress on. I don't even remember when and where I learned about the existence of this limited series. Maybe it was on a YouTube channel, maybe it was just searching for things in my CLZ app. I don't recall at this point, but I've had it on my wish list for a little while now. Never have seen any of the issues in the wild, and finally I've come across my first 2 issues from this 5-part limited series. This is a publisher crossover series between Marvel and Dynamite. This is Spider-Man Red Sonja, and I guess that's just all it's called, Spider-Man Red Sonja. The covers are done by Michael Turner, which is really cool, and just an odd team up. Though it looks like still in issue 2, doesn't look like they've teamed up yet. They're still at odds, which is a very common theme when you get these mashups of different heroes. But yeah, it seems really cool, and I'm very happy to have found 2 issues. I wish they were issues 1 and 2, just because I like to get things in succession like that, but I'll take what I can find, especially when it's something I really never see in the wild. But there's issue number 2. And then secondly, Also, Michael Turner cover. Here is issue 4 of 5. So 40% progress there, not too shabby for $1 a piece. And now I'll just continue to hunt for those other 3 issues. So happy to have found those. I was able to complete this next limited series. This is really a limited series that's part of a larger crossover story that just recently concluded. This is Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants number 3 of 3, part of the Sins of Sinister X-Men crossover event that just wrapped up, X number of months ago. But I got the first couple issues of each of those series new and then stopped. There were just too many X-Men books. I kind of go through waves like that where I'm getting a lot of X-Men books and then I decide I don't want to spend that much of my budget each month on the new X-Men books, and so I kind of scale it back a little bit and then try to fill in some of those holes via the dollar bins. This was one of those cases, and so this issue 3 in the dollar bin was able to allow me to complete this particular limited series. I think I still need a couple more issues to complete this entire crossover, but glad to have found that one. I was very happy to find these next 2 books because in a video, it must have been like December kind of time frame, January time frame, I showed my last trip out to Clairemont for a different sale that they were doing like around Christmas time. And in that video, I showed more than 10, I forget exactly how many issues, but I found several issues in the latter part of Silver Surfer Volume 3. That's a volume that I started really early on, and over the years I pieced that all together, and now I'm down to less than 10 issues, largely thanks to that last Clairemont Comics Sale, because those higher number issues, it ran for, what was it, 140 something issues. Hard to find those later issues from the run, but I made some really good progress at the last sale. All that to say, I wasn't expecting to find more at this sale. I did find a couple, but only just a couple. I didn't find nearly as many as I did last time. And those 2 issues are issue 109, and this was the era where it was, the numbers were down here, kind of really hard to find issue number there. And then issue number 120. So very happy. It's only 2 issues, but now I'm 2 issues closer. I think I only need like 5 more to complete this entire volume 3, and that's going to be a great day when I complete those. Interestingly, I don't think they've ever done any omnibus editions of Silver Surfer Volume 3. That'd be interesting. Maybe Marvel will do that someday. That would definitely be an omnibus collection that I would put together just because I loved working on this run for so long. So happy to get those. Going to shift characters now and go to 2 completely different eras for the same character. First, we've got this issue of the recently concluded volume of She-Hulk. It just ended with issue 15, and I got most of these new, but not all of them. So I am trying to still fill in those few holes as I can find them for cheap, and issue 5 was one of those holes. I think I only need 2, maybe 3 issues now to complete that, but happy to have found that. And then staying with She-Hulk, but going all the way to the other end of her comic book run, this is The Savage She-Hulk. That's another volume that I just try to piece together as I can find those issues for cheap and in at least modest condition. Usually you see those for $3, $4, $5 or more a piece. So I feel really lucky when I can find them for $1. These would have been either $4.25 or $6.25 originally, but again, because of that sale, got them for $1 a piece. I got at their sale issue 18 and then issue 19, but not just issue 19, there's the newsstand edition. And yeah, because they had it, I just went ahead and got the direct edition as well, because in my collector brain, those are not duplicate issues. One's a direct, one's a newsstand. So that's how I justify keeping those. And that's just a matter of opinion. Some people collect that way, some don't. Had they been the full price, I probably wouldn't have bought either, right? Because I'm looking to get those at $1 a piece, but because that price was just $1, I'm gonna go ahead and get a copy of each of those. So very happy to get those. I think now that's another run. It only ran for 25 issues, and I think I'm down to about a handful. Of course, included in that need is still issue number 1 and issue 25. I don't expect to find either of those ever in a dollar bin, but hey, you know, stranger things have happened. Maybe I can still find them for a really good deal someday. In the meantime, and until then, I'll be very happy just to piece the rest of that volume together at $1 a piece as I can. All right, let's come back to the modern era, and just one issue that I picked up for this next title. This is Miss Marvel number 3. I'm a Carol Danvers fan, but this is a series that I'm not working on real aggressively. I just pick these up when I can find the issues, and it was really, I don't know that he had many issues, but I got the lowest number that he had that I also needed. So grab that one. And then this was a fun book to find. It took me surprisingly longer to find this book than I ever thought it would. Nothing significant about the book from a key perspective, but it was significant to me because this book here allowed me to complete this volume. This is from, well, I don't even know what volume number it would be at this point, but this is Captain America number 29. This was the penultimate issue of this volume. It ended with issue 30. This was a series that I got a bunch of them new, decided to get the rest of them via dollar bins, and this was the one holdout for months and months. I just never seemed to find this. Plenty of dollar sales where they had other Captain America books, but never could find this one. And now I finally have issue 29. It eluded me for quite a while. And Alex Ross did a lot of the covers on these. Maybe he did the main covers for the entire series, but great to have completed that volume just because it's satisfying to, you know, complete a volume, and now I can finish reading it. Let's stick with Captain America. But now we're going to go back again, probably to the 90s, late 90s at this point. This is Captain America Volume 3, still, or similar to that one Thor I showed you where it was after the hero's return era. I've said in previous videos that I'm working on the Wade Garney run of Captain America, which spans Volume 1 and then kind of hiccups over Volume 2 and then resumes in Volume 3. But I've since then continued to collect that Volume 3, just sticking with Wade all the way till the end of his run, which was what, in the late 20s, early 30s, something issues, I forget off the top of my head right now. I showed you some of those issues recently, but made a little bit of progress during their sale by picking up issue 17, is that? Yeah. And is it, I always get them confused, as Andy or Adam? Andy Kubert doing the pencils at this point. And so I'm not going to complain about his art either. I love his art style. So happy to have found issue 17 and then issue 19. So getting real close on this run as well, being able to complete that. So always happy to make that kind of progress. This next book was mostly a nostalgia buy, and not even because I have any direct connection to the franchise, but it still reminds me of childhood. This was a comic based on a toy line, part of Marvel's Star Comics, and I think it only ran for like 5 issues or something. This is Air Raiders number 1, and I honestly don't remember anything about these toys. Maybe there was a show. I don't even know if there was a show, but they did a short run comic book for that toy line, and it was just cool. He did have the other issues from this series on sale. I held off and did not buy them just because I figured I really don't know if I'd like them or not, but issue 1 kind of iconic that way from a nostalgia perspective, so I was content just to take issue 1. Who knows, if I can find the other issues again at a future dollar sale, maybe I'll pick them up. We'll see, but for now, happy to have gotten number 1. Next up here, sorry, I'm seeing a little smudge here, but just making sure it's on the bag and not on the book, and it is just on the bag. This next issue allowed me to complete another limited series. Here, I'll show it to you while I'm talking about it. This is A-Force number 2. This was a limited series that was part of the larger Secret Wars event series that Marvel did when we had Battle World and, you know, God Doom or Doom God. I think it was God Doom. But Doom pieced together Battle World, saving pieces of the multiverse to create one patchwork universe for our Marvel heroes and villains alike. And A-Force was one of those realms in Battle World. I got issue number 1 when it first came out, just because I thought it was a cool character roster, and that spiked a little bit in value for a little bit because it was considered a key for a little while. I don't know that it's there anymore, but since then, because I like this event so much, I just wanted to go ahead and complete that and some of the other limited series. And I have since found all of the other issues to A-Force, but this issue 2 now allows me to complete that limited series. So very happy to have found that. And it's a really cool cover too. And then the last few issues to show you here, I got once again for my wife, who has recently started to collect certain runs of Star Trek comics. She and I've mentioned before, are big fans of a variety of the shows, and kind of dovetailing in with my love for comic books, Nicole has said, hey, I want to collect some of the older Star Trek comic books, some of the Next Generation things, and so when I find those, I am sure to grab those for her. And these 4 issues came from the first Marvel Comics Star Trek series, not Next Generation, it's based on the original series. Started out where they were doing the movie adaptation from the original movie in, 1980? And then their adventures continued after that, and I think it ran like 18 issues in total. But there were 4 issues there I was able to add to her collection. This is issue number 9. And then issue 14. We have issue 16. And then lastly, issue 17. And those, again, you could see from the original price tag, were selling for, looks like they were all selling for $6.25 a piece or $4.25 a piece. But what a great discount to get on those comics. I don't even know what this would have cost me in total. Maybe I'll do the math and I'll show it down below here what my total would have been had I paid sticker price for each of these comics, but instead I got them for just $1 a piece. So thanks to Clairemont Comics for having such a great sale and for doing this kind of thing not just once, but doing it a couple times a year. It's consistently been a great opportunity for me to build out my collection, check off a lot of fun things off my wish list, and it's just a fun time, and I love to be able to share it with you. So with that, I'm going to say that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this Dollar Bin haul from Clairemont Comics 2023 Anniversary Sale. I do hope you saw something that you liked, but what about you? What kinds of things are you finding on your own comic adventures recently? Are there any runs that you've completed? Anything you've made good progress on? Any books that have no value out in the marketplace but are super valuable to you that you're really happy you scored? Let us know about all those good things down in the comments. Now, if you're not quite ready for the YouTube fun to stop, I have hand-selected a couple videos here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.